What's going on, fellow A-Plusters? It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new review as we're set to go ahead and get into episode number 20 of DonBrothers. Another fantastic episode, to be perfectly honest with you guys, man. I continue to love this series. You know, can I be honest with you guys before we even get into this review? It's episode 20, right? I was actually just talking to my friend AJ in one of our messengers here recently, and he wound up mentioning the idea that Inu brother or Tsubasa, that the rest of the team don't even know that he's Inu brother. And I was like, what are you talking about? The whole team knows each other by now. He's like, no, they don't. I was like, really? Like, I completely forgot. I completely forgot that they do not know, especially after watching this episode and they bump into Tsubasa again. It's not like they're like, hey, come on, you're part of their groups, come join us, right? Like, it's the idea of like inviting him in still. Like, they literally do not know that this man is Inu brother. And for me, I think I just thought that because of the fact that we're 20 episodes in, we've seen them all hanging out before, if you will. I guess it just never dawned on me that, yeah, you know what, I really don't think that they do know that he's Inu brother. So appreciate AJ certainly hitting me upside the head with that one there, because yeah, even watching in this episode too, I'm like, damn, 20 episodes in, and they still don't know that this man is Inu brother. If I'm wrong, guys, please go ahead and certainly let me know. But I did find that pretty interesting and pretty funny. Also, some great storytelling, man. I really dig it, honestly. And this episode was certainly no different. I really appreciate the fact that they're now referring to sort of that other side of Jiro as the feral Jiro, good old Don Torabolt that we get introduced to here in this week's episode, compared to Don Dragoku. Now, clearly, John Dragoku can certainly tap into this side of him, but now, I mean, the feral side even has a morphing sequence, like a transformation of his own in Don Torabolt that looks incredible. I really do love the complete opposites. I mean, we kind of already knew this maybe going into the season a little bit based off of some of the toy scans we had previously seen, but you know, the toy scans and the actual figures really do these costumes and these special effects and weapons designs just no justice until you actually see them in live action. And the Torabolt design is something that I'm very in love with as of right now, especially the concept of it using like white tiger strikes. I mean, look, the action in this season and series in general has been phenomenal, but the special effects associated with a lot of the special attacks and the final strikes and stuff have been absolutely remarkable. I mean, just the idea of seeing like the outline of the shield and helmet sort of glowing and stuff in the dark. I mean, we even see with like Momotaro's sword, right? After he uses his slash, just the rainbow streak up the blade. It's pretty incredible. I really love the way that they've utilized the suits and the special effects for this particular season. But yeah, man, Don Torabolt certainly showed up here this week. I mean, different personality. I mean, the costume change for him towards the end, even the makeup design on his eyes, the little like neck cracks that he kind of does for himself. I mean, really just a completely different character. And so the actor that is playing Jirou in here, doing a really great job of really showcasing two completely different sides of himself and really kind of showing some range. You know, I kind of felt like we got to see that a little bit with Kaito, the Kaito character in Zenkaiger, when he had that episode where he turned into like a pirate or something like that, or somebody that didn't care about rules and stuff. Got to see a completely different side of that actor, and so I really love to see when these actors get the opportunity to showcase their range. And so yeah, Jirou, the actor that plays Jirou, was phenomenal in this, and I really love getting an opportunity to see just the different personality traits for sure, because the feral side, honestly, the feral side is one that I am truly fascinated with, to kind of see, like, is it a bestial? Is it some sort of weird hybrid? Like, and that's a lot of the questions that I have, right? Because the origin story for him is still very similar to that of Momotaro. but you kind of wonder where things kind of veer off, right? And so there feels like there's so much more story to Jiro to certainly find out, but I really want to see why he has sort of that feral side and that very bestial kind of mindset to him. But they do a really great job of showcasing it to the point to where when it does pop up, like even myself, I'm personally worried. Like when you've got the rest of the Don brothers who are still concerned about that other side of him, and it starts coming out, you're just like, okay, like what are we really gonna get ourselves into? And anytime that he shows up, great work when it comes to directors, the direction work, cinematography, just really get an opportunity to see like that other side coming out of him, right? Like when Kaido in here, lets them know about who's really behind why they're so successful right now. I mean, you literally almost see like Jiro's world just crumble in front of him, almost like he's been foiled again, you know what I mean? Like opportunities just being pulled from the rug and kind of taken away from him. Like just getting to see that side crumble and that other side sort of rise is pretty incredible. Like for some reason when I watch him now, I get Gollum vibes from Lord of the Rings, like freaking Andy Serkis arguing with himself as two different characters. Like I really just love the how opposite they certainly are, and being able to see that transition, because when it starts coming out, I'm like, oh, it's about to hit the fan. Like it's about to hit the fan. So I think they're doing a really good job of keeping it mysterious, but also keeping it very visceral at the same time, and a lot of mystery. So I really want to learn a little bit more about him. But his main storyline here in this week's episode is one of his oldest friends in Rumi, I believe her name is. They refer to her as like an ex-girlfriend in here. He says that they're not in a relationship, but that they've been friends for years. And I love the flashback that we get in here just to showcase like, yeah, when they've been childhood friends, and getting the opportunity to see that apparently Jiro's been doing this before. The idea of like leaving because it's time for him to be a superhero, and he's had to say goodbye before, and so I'm very much under the impression that this one flashback is probably not the only time that he certainly has had to do this. And I think maybe over the years of that time period, Rumi has definitely learned like, yeah, this guy's a dummy. this guy's an idiot, or at least that's how she certainly treats him. So it is interesting and odd that she contacts him, says that, hey, I'm on my way down, sort of thing. But I guess the payoff very much is the end of the episode, when you realize she just decides she's not going to show up whatsoever. And I'm thinking while I'm watching the entire episode, like, okay, when is his friend actually going to show up? And she certainly never does. And I think she even says like, yeah, I'm not going to go anymore, sort of thing. So it definitely goes to showcase the friendship, if that's what you want to call it, between these two. Just kind of how she really doesn't, I guess, care as much for Jiro as he certainly thinks so, right? Like there is some like a kind of cruel or mean idea of like, hey, just blowing your friend off after you've told him that you were going to be there. It's kind of dickish of her for sure. So I do wonder if there's elements of maybe that's why Jiro's the way that he is. I certainly don't know in regards to that feral side of things, but there's more to his origin story that I really want to find out, and they're doing a really great job of making that rather fascinating. And really, for me, I'm actually quite surprised that Don Momotaro allowed him to actually lead the team this week. Him and his Dragonfires. I know Haruka's given him a crap time about the name at first, but I really dug the name. It really grew on me. But it is one of those things where this is kind of one of those life lessons in a sense, but also kind of really playing into the theme of the season in the sense of like people's greed and ego, and that concept of wanting more being the person's sort of downfall. You know what I mean? Like this conceited and arrogant rise because you want to be famous, and then once you start getting that spotlight, you take your eye off the goal, you know what I mean? And you all of a sudden just get this big head, and it's kind of all about you know what I mean? So I love the warning that we get here from Kaito, but the Momotano's a theme and story this week definitely lived up to the series theme in general, in the sense of like he wants to be the leader in order to impress his friend, because this is the dream that he told him he was certainly going to accomplish. And so now you've got people lying for him. Well, I don't want to say, well, technically lying for him, right? Because he's not the leader. So you do get the opportunity to see Don Momotaro, who's like, you know what, you do this. And I do wonder if that's why he did it, right? Like, he's not allowed to lie. So if he was a part of the team, he'd probably die, and he probably knows it's the wrong thing. And so the idea of leaving the team and watching his team just kind of fail, if you, I don't want to say fail, but go down the path of what it would be like if he certainly wasn't on the team, and I found that rather interesting in here. So definitely continuing along with the themes of this series, in the sense of your greed kind of taking over, and then realizing, yeah, like realizing that all this time you thought you were accomplishing it, but your leader was actually still pulling the strings behind the scenes in order to go ahead and make you guys look good, sort of thing. Again, it definitely shows Momotaro's worth. I'm pretty sure Momotani probably felt like maybe a sense of, I don't want to say distrust, but that Momotaro didn't believe that he could actually kind of handle it, you know what I mean, for himself. I wonder if that's maybe one of the ways that Momotani was certainly feeling. But overall, I really enjoyed Momotani's storyline in here, and how it really worked into the theme of this series so far. But yeah, man, Torabolt is definitely somebody to pay attention to, certainly going forward. How often he's gonna be sort of popping up, I have no idea, but believe it or not, we're almost like at the halfway point of this season. It's just been such a fun thrill. It's kind of crazy to realize that it's almost completed. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of Kaito kind of being really involved in this episode, believe it or not, as we get the opportunity to see Kaito pretty alarmed at the idea that Momotani wants to be the leader of this particular team, especially when it comes to having to impress somebody, right? I think it's the moment that he denies that him and this girl have ever really broken up, or they've had an on and off relationship. I think he immediately is like, what is your purpose of doing this, right? And I think when he realizes it's probably to impress somebody, I think he knows the route that it's certainly going to go. And so you've got Kaito really dropping some gems into here, like, guys, listen, you know, this is not a good idea. I'm just gonna warn you guys, before you know it, your nose is gonna grow like Pinocchio, because you got him stuck up to the sky. You're gonna be so arrogant and have such a big ego, right? Like, to the point to where the team is literally like declining calls to even engage in doing their duty as DonBrothers, sort of thing, leaving their poor man hanging out there, and Don Momotaro having to certainly fend for himself, sort of thing. So Kaito's advice definitely wasn't heeded upon until it was certainly a little bit too late. But I love seeing him get involved in here. Zenkaiger Black certainly showcasing himself once again with his lightsaber gun. I just love the idea of like that flame tip turning into a lightsaber as one of his weapons of choice in here. Really great quote in here from him also. I was born to be a hero. I fight as a hero. I will always be a hero. I need to know more about this version of Kaito. This is not the same one from Zenkaiger, or if it is, clearly a lot of time has passed, and Zenkaiger Black has certainly been up to a lot more than even we're certainly aware of, you know what I mean? So I'm wondering if there was a significant time jump and Kaito has got like a whole life's worth of experience now, or if this is a different version of that particular same character. I truly have no idea, but I'm really interested to see where his story is going to go from here, in the sense of him taking the credit for the Dragonfires. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, because his expressions are kind of stoic at times, or they're like not even stoic but just very like subtle, there are some times that I can't even pick up on, like, is he playing around by taking the credit, or, you know, his nose was grown at the end, like, did he fall into sort of his own ego a little bit and didn't take his own advice, and now we see Kaito maybe going down an interesting path that I wasn't like. Is he all of a sudden gonna become greedy and turn into a Hitatsuki himself? Like, that would be bananas if we even got to that particular point. But I don't know if I don't know if he's just joking and playing along with taking credit, or if there's a part of him that wants a little bit of the shine himself too. So I am really interested to truly see like what his motivations are, why he's a part of all this in the first place. But yeah, anytime Zenkaiger Black is on the scene, you got to certainly pay attention, man. But I thought that was great. Really quick honorable mention in here, the Cerebrains are in a movie. Like, what's going on? Like, literally some limo or some car pulls up and is like, hey, I want you in the movie. And it's I think it's Haruka's manga, isn't it? Based on Haruka's manga. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section box below. They didn't show the female that had the script in her hand, but apparently the Cerebrains are gonna make a movie. Like, is that gonna be like on the Tokusatsu fan club YouTube page or something like that, the Cerebrains movie? Or are we actually gonna see how that certainly all unfolds in this particular season? That would be interesting to see how they pull that off. Also, overall, guys, the action was pretty fantastic. Momotaro in this episode was still pretty relevant despite him not really being in half of the episode. Get an opportunity to see him at least get some fighting in, if you will, and incredible fight sequences. I thought the Hitatsuki here this week was actually pretty formidable, and so to see him really struggling, or at least a pretty decent fight holding his own against Don Momotaro, and even seeing Zenkaiger Black have to, hold their own against him before he winds up escaping. I thought it was actually a pretty good fight sequence in the middle and the end of this episode also. And then even getting a little bit the opportunity to see Murasame, who's certainly back once again, this time confronted by Sonoi, that is very much aware that he's I keep saying he, but I'm very much under the impression that Murasame is a female. I kind of mentioned that in the previous episode, where I'm like, it definitely has a feminine voice, and you could definitely even hear it more so in here also. So I definitely do believe that she's based off of a female character, and I believe they even referenced in here that the council created Murasame and refer to Murasame as sort of an artificial life form that maybe has grown a consciousness, if you will. So I am kind of wondering what's woken it up, what's speaking to it to make it act this way, because it does feel very much almost like a hypnosis, or of mesmerizing, whatever the voice is, this mother that's certainly talking to Murasame. So pretty fascinating stuff here, and it definitely continues to grow the mystery. I will say this: while I appreciate the mystery, I feel like I'm starting to get more questions than answers. And at some point in time, I really would like to kind of start seeing some connective pieces. Now, it is one of those things, like, I feel like as a viewer, we are slowly putting pieces together, but I still feel like there are hints here, hints here, hints here, hints here, hints here, and not everything is quite connected yet. But so I would like maybe a couple more pieces, or at least maybe one particular topic kind of clarified on a little bit more by the time we get to like episode 22 or 25, you know what I mean? Instead of waiting to the very end to kind of put it all together. Just give me a breadcrumb of one little, revelation. I would be really happy to kind of learn something like that here rather soon. But other than that, guys, I fucking love this season. I truly do. This is a goated season already for me, and I honestly haven't even finished it yet. It's definitely in probably my top. It's definitely in my top 5, if not in my top 3, if not like. We'll see how things turn out by the end of the season, but I'm really impressed, guys, and definitely continue to certainly recommend it if you guys aren't watching it. I would assume you certainly are, though. But great stuff, man, great stuff. I gotta also, just another quick honorable mention, I gotta throw this out here: the training in the rain. While it also looks like, I believe they filmed this stuff during like the winter time, right? I mean, you can literally see their breath as they're filming. Like, did everybody come down with like a cold after this? Because I gotta think that this shot was probably like a grueling experience to be in the rain rain and in the cold, you know what I mean? Like, it was granted, it might have been like just water from the set, you know, that they were sitting in. I don't know if it was really raining over there or not, but it looked cold and it looked like a really bad day. So I hope everybody walked away from this episode not with like catching a flu or anything like that. But listen, overall, guys, great episode here. These are just simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours, though. Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below, guys, and we'll definitely talk about this episode through the week until next week's episode. But until then, guys, do me a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.